Hey, how's it going everyone? Welcome to Shifting Lanes. My name is Hanson. Thanks for tuning into the video. And for this one, I'm sitting in the 2021 Lexus IS350 F Sport with all-wheel drive. Now, I've already reviewed the rear-wheel drive version, and if you want to see a detailed review of that car, please check out the link up here. Now, a quick summary of that video and the IS350 itself is that I highly recommend the IS350 rear-wheel drive. It's a great-looking sedan with really good ride quality, and it's got really nice handling as well. There's a lot of nice safety technology in that car, and it's actually a great cheaper alternative to the upcoming IS300, which will have that magnificent Lexus V8 engine. So if you don't care about the V8 power and the V8 sound, the IS350 F Sport with dynamic handling package is a great choice. Now, the only thing different about this car, aside from the all-wheel drive feature, is this weird hump on the footwell. Now, this is a rear-wheel drive based all-wheel drive car, so the transmission is pointing that way. Now, to send power to the front wheels, you're going to have another output shaft that points towards the front. So that explains why there's a weird hump there. Now, I'm not really sure how to feel about it because that does make the footwell area more cramped, but it's also comfortable because it acts like an ottoman for your right foot. So I think it really depends on how tall you are, but bottom line is take it for a test drive and see if that thing is going to bother you or not. Now, for this video, I wanted to discuss which Lexus IS you should buy because the lineup isn't so straightforward. And if you need all-wheel drive like this car, one might not be better than the other. Lexus did streamline the lineup for the 2021 model year, so there's basically 4 models to choose from. Now, you have the IS300 in rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, and you have the IS350 F Sport also in rear-wheel or all-wheel drive. Whichever one you go with, all of these models will have the proper sports sedan pieces, like this being based on a rear-wheel drive platform, and also the front suspension will have double wishbone suspension setup. That's the same type of suspension geometry that you'll find in serious sports cars like the Mazda Miata and Chevy Corvettes. All of these models also have the same braking hardware. There's 4 piston calipers with 13.1-inch ventilated rotors up front and 2 piston calipers with 11.7-inch ventilated rotors at the rear. Where these models differ is in the power plant and the transmission. Let's start with the IS300 models first. IS300 rear-wheel drive has a 2-liter turbo power plant that makes 241 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. And that's attached to a slick 8-speed automatic transmission. If you're looking for a great starting point for a luxury sports sedan, the IS300 rear-wheel drive is a nice choice. That engine will be great for commuting purposes and the car will be fun to drive, but you won't unlock the full potential of the IS platform with the IS300 rear-wheel drive. If you move up to the IS350 F Sport rear-wheel drive, that has a 3.5-liter naturally aspirated V6. That's the car that I have reviewed already, and that makes 311 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque. That's also attached to an 8-speed automatic transmission. When you combine that car with the dynamic handling package, which adds the adaptive variable suspension and the Torsen limited slip differential, it makes it into a really fun sports car to drive. I really had a great time driving that car. Now, for the 2022 model year, the IS300 enters the lineup, and that's going to have a 5-liter V8 with 472 horsepower and 395 pound-feet of torque. That's the same engine that's found in the LC, the RCF, and the defunct GSF. It's the best Lexus engine there is and might just be one of the best V8s you can buy today. And I'm really looking forward to testing that, so make sure you hit that subscribe button for more updates. As for the all-wheel drive models, this is where it gets a little bit unclear. Now, the IS300 all-wheel drive has a 3.5-liter engine making 260 horsepower and 236 pound-feet of torque, whereas this IS350 F Sport all-wheel drive makes 311 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque. They're using the same engine, but the IS300 all-wheel drive's V6 has been detuned presumably to match the figures of the 2-liter engine, the IS300 rear-wheel drive. And both of these all-wheel drive models also come with a 6-speed automatic transmission. Motor Trend has some really good articles and analysis on this, and I'll link to them down below. According to their test, the slower IS300 all-wheel drive went from 0 to 60 in 5.7 seconds. and that closely matches the IS350 F Sport rear-wheel drive 0 to 60 time, and that has 51 more horsepower and 34 more pound-feet of torque. Now, according to my tests, the IS350 rear-wheel drive 0 to 60 is roughly around 6.1 seconds, and it's close to those advertised times if you ignore the 1-foot rollout bonus that those times usually consider. This IS350 all-wheel drive 0 to 60 is about the same. Now, I don't have the IS300 all-wheel drive model to test, but if we go by the magazine's test numbers, then there might not be a big difference between the IS300 all-wheel drive and the IS350 all-wheel drive. That's one simple metric, of course. If you take into account this IS350 F Sport all-wheel drive's tuned coil springs and dampers, and also the bigger tires, then you can clearly see which one is going to be the better car. But that's usually what happens when you put better suspension and bigger tires anyway. Pricing wise, they're not that close. The IS300 all-wheel drive is about $4,000 cheaper compared to this car. So if you're just looking at it from a hardware perspective, you're paying an extra $4,000 for the 19-inch BBS staggered wheels with all-season tires, special bodywork including the grille insert and special black trim pieces, which upon closer inspection looks like something that you can swap out yourself if you want to. And you also get this carbon fiber duckbill spoiler, which looks pretty awesome. Now, in my opinion, all those visual upgrades is worth the money. And if you take a look at the cost of 19-inch BBS staggered wheels and also that spoiler, it's going to add up about to $4,000. I would spend the extra premium so I can have something that looks almost like the IS500, except for that hood. But if you're someone that likes to make modifications and would probably buy their own wheels and tires anyway, then the IS300 all-wheel drive seems to be the better buy there, because after an engine tune, if one is available, that will unlock the full potential of that 3.5 liter V6. Personally, out of all of the Lexus IS offerings, my choice would be the IS500, even though at the time of this filming, that car is not available yet, so I haven't had a chance to drive it. But I just know that after driving this IS350 F Sport all-wheel drive and the IS350 F Sport rear-wheel drive, I just know that this IS platform is a really good one. And that V8, I've driven that in a bunch of other Lexus cars, the LC, the RCF, the GSF. It is such a sweet engine, and it sounds like this. So merging that engine with this platform, it's only going to mean awesome things. Now, after the IS500, I would go with the IS350 F Sport rear-wheel drive, and after that, I would go with this all-wheel drive model. Which one do you like better? Do you like the IS300 or the IS350? And do you like the rear-wheel drive version or the all-wheel drive version better? If you want to see a more in-depth review of the same exact car but in rear-wheel drive, again, please check out the links down below. With that said, let me wrap it up right there. I want to thank you so much for watching all the way till the end. If you've learned something, please consider hitting that like button. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe and that notification bell so that you can be notified anytime we make a new video. Let's wrap it up right there. My name is Hanson. This has been the 2021 Lexus IS350 F Sport with all-wheel drive, and I'll see you next time.